All right, welcome. This is DB talking now. DB talking birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. All right, let's go ahead and talk about it. The Eagles lost the Washington football team 20 to 14 the other night after a suspicious move to pull Jalen Hurts at the start of the fourth quarter. No injuries. Nothing whatsoever. I'm sure everybody saw the game. He went. Doug Pederson went ahead and put Nate Sudfeld in there. Absolutely bogus move. What? Absolutely 100%. It left. Well, obviously, it left the New York Giants completely infuriated because they were depending on us to win for them to make the playoffs, and Joe Judge, head coach of the New York Giants, came out and pretty much criticized the Eagles organization for doing so. Honestly, I don't think Jeffrey Lurie had any idea that Doug was going to do this. None of the Eagles players had any idea that Doug was going to do this. As we are well aware of, it's been about a day and a half since the game, and or 2 days. It's been about a day and a half since the game, and now we're starting to hear about how players were not aware and how some players needed to be held back from confronting Doug Pederson after he decided to bench Jalen Hurts mysteriously, because it came out and it pointed to Doug pretty much threw the game. He threw the game. He basically told his players that we're not going to try to win this game. And the crazy thing is, Doug came out and said afterwards in the post-game press conference that we were trying to do everything we could to win. But you pulled your best player. You pulled the player at the quarterback position who gave you the best chance to win in that situation. Now, look, Jalen Hurts was not having a great game, but he was picking up yards on the ground, running with the football. He had the 2 rushing touchdowns. He brought us back in that game when we went down 10-0. He got 2 rushing touchdowns, made it 14-10, and Doug decided to pull him. It was a really odd week to begin with. I mean, one, you had Fletcher Cox, who was out, and granted, that's probably the most legit one. That's probably the only legit non-active player on Sunday night. But then you had Miles Sanders, you had Deshaun Jackson, you had Alshon Jeffrey, you had all these guys that mysteriously just were not active for the game, and so pretty much they were doing everything they could to lose that game, to make it seem like they were losing that game very subtly. Obviously, they were doing everything they could to make it so that they lost that game with as much subtlety as possible. Now, this morning you had Miles Sanders come out and say that nobody liked the Jalen Hurts, the move to pull Jalen Hurts, and that everybody was confused. That's a big deal. It's a big deal when your star running back comes out and says that about your head coach. I got to be honest with you. I don't see how Doug survives what he did Sunday night. I don't see it. Obviously the speculation was that he was going to be back for another year, but the belief is that he's speaking with owner Jeffrey Lurie today regarding his future with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I just don't know how you gain the trust and loyalty of your players after a decision like that. Go down fighting. You know what I mean? You got to go down fighting. Of course we want the better pick. Of course we're well aware. But if you're going to do something like that, tell your players before you do it. And then maybe the upset and the chaos, the emotional chaos isn't as much as it is now. Jalen Hurts just did not look good. Who did look good? Who continues to impress me is Quez Watkins, wide receiver Quez Watkins. He continues to impress me. Now, yes, Jalen Hurts and Quez Watkins did have that misconnection in the end zone, but that was not the fault of Quez Watkins whatsoever. Quez Watkins ran a great route in the end zone there, and got open, and Jalen Hurts just couldn't find him. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the progression of Quez Watkins. Obviously, we're gonna have to wait until next season to see that, um, I'm excited for him. I think that he was a good pick, and it's a shame that we didn't get to see him earlier on in this season. Even though I had been screaming for it all along, it's a shame. But the other thing is Carson Wentz declined to speak to the media for his exit interview, and everybody seems to be making a big deal about this and how he's being poor sport or crybaby or whatever. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Poor sport or crybaby? I mean, they were completely disloyal to the guy. They weren't disloyal to him, but how is he supposed to react? What is he supposed to say? There's a lot of dysfunction in Philadelphia going on right now, and I'm surprised that Zach Ertz spoke to the media. Speaking of Zach Ertz, speaking to the media, it was a real heartbreak to see him get upset at his press conference, and he wants to play in Philadelphia, man. He doesn't want to leave the city. He loves playing here. He wants to be here, and I think all Eagles fans want him here. I think the thing is that money is an issue. Money is an issue, and Zach Ertz needs a new contract. And he hasn't really shown any signs of slowing down, other than the first few weeks of the season, where he was probably upset about the fact that his season personally started off with quite a bit of dysfunction, given the debacle that he had with Howie Roseman. But I mean, when he came back from his injury, he started to play. He started to play pretty well. Me, I'm kind of one of those people that would love to see Zach Ertz back in an Eagles uniform, and don't want to see him leave. I don't think he wants to leave. And I mean, the other couple players that are in jeopardy of leaving, obviously there's quite a few, but the big names, obviously, number one is Carson Wentz. Number two is Jason Kelce, and number three is Zach Ertz. And I definitely don't want to see Jason Kelce leave. Definitely don't want to see that happen. And we don't even know if that's going to happen. I mean, his decision to, he's been mulling retirement for the past 3 years. It seems like. I mean, it seems like over the past 3 years, it's been something that we've been talking about ever since they won the Super Bowl. So, obviously Jason Peters isn't going to be back. Obviously, there's quite a bunch of other players that aren't going to be back. We'll have to see what happens. It really is a shame the way that this season has played out. It's played out with quite a bit of dysfunction, a lot of dysfunction. I think Doug lost his team a long time ago. I think it happened before he decided to bench Carson Wentz, and I think it escalated when he benched Carson Wentz, because there were quite a few leaders on the team that didn't want that to happen. Now, granted, I'm glad that we got to see Jalen Hurts, but to bench Jalen Hurts for this final Week 17 game at all makes absolutely no sense. And he said that he wanted to see a little bit of Nate Sudfeld because he's been here for 4 years and he deserves to get some playing time before the season ends. Why? He's a 27-year-old third-string quarterback. And he did exactly what a third-string quarterback does. The Eagles defense forced 2 turnovers. And then Nate Sudfeld gave the ball right back to them both times. One was an interception and one was a fumbled snap. I don't see how Doug Pederson survives what he did on Sunday night. And from the sounds of it, and from the looks of it, Howie Roseman is going to survive. Howie Roseman is going to survive. Howie Roseman is going to be here. That's my take. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to continue to see how this thing plays out. Quite a few things are going to happen. Obviously, Jim Schwartz is going to walk away for a year and then see if he wants to retire or not. He's letting his Eagles contract expire, so he will not be back this next season. And and obviously, the main important thing is we need to get an offensive coordinator in here. And possibly a new head coach. I do want to speak about the fact of I do want to speak on losing Doug as a possible head coach. If there's one thing that can be said for Doug, is that in the past he's been a great player motivator. He's been a great player motivator. He's done a great job of getting through to the guys and getting them prepared to play and giving them and getting them prepared to give every ounce of effort until the final whistle of the game and of the season. And that would be the argument to keep Doug. That would be the argument. And then bring in an offensive coordinator and then have them complement each other well. And then you probably will have something from there. You got your great player motivator and you got your great offensive coordinator who will help design the plays. Unfortunately, Doug seems to have lost the team. And therefore, I go back to I don't see how he survives what he did on Sunday night. I don't see how he survives what he did on Sunday night. I think it started with the Bengals, with the Bengals game, unfortunately, where he decided to take the tie instead of go for the win. Where he decided to take the tie instead of go for the win. I think it started there. That's where I think it started. And then it just continued to break apart like a domino effect. The dominoes continued to fall from then on, unfortunately. Howie Roseman spoke today with the media about missing on Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf, and he said obviously those you see those guys and do what they do, and obviously when you look at it like that, those things hurt. Um, but he spoke about JJ Arthur-Whiteside having a great offseason. No, that I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to see JJ Arthur-Whiteside have a good offseason. I don't want to see that. Don't tell me that. And it just makes me think. It just makes me think. If they go a wide receiver in the first round, which I don't think that they'll do, they might. But if they do, don't take Devontae Smith. I'm not saying Devontae Smith is a bad player. If you're going to take a wide receiver in the first round and you want to be sure about it, take Jamar Chase. Take Jamar Chase. Devontae Smith is 6'1", 175. He's 6'1", 175. He's Deshaun Jackson. But a little bit taller. In the NFL, he will probably be able to run deep routes. But what if our quarterback can't get it to him? What if our quarterback can't get it to him? Can he run intermediate routes? Can he do it successfully? Can he do it unafraid? Those are too many questions. Those are too many questions for me. So I'd rather go with Jamar Chase, who can pretty much kind of do it all. Out of those two players, he can do it all. So if you're going to take a wide receiver at 6, take Jamar Chase. You want to be sure, go with Jamar Chase. I don't think that's what they're going to do. But hey, that's my 2 cents on that. That is my 2 cents on that. I am really interested to see what happens over the next few days. It's going to be an interesting few days. It's going to be an interesting few days. I'm interested to see what will happen today. And I'm sure we'll get updates later. Just because, as I said before, Doug Pederson and Jeffrey Lurie are meeting today, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other staff members that are meeting with Jeffrey Lurie today as well, including Howie Roseman. So um, they'll have to come up with a good plan. They'll have to come up with a good plan to keep their job, a good job, a good pitch to keep their job. But I will be with you throughout the week. We will continue to talk about this. I will be with you later to throw in some more updates. I am currently at work, so I got to get back. But thank you guys for joining me during this live stream. This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. You guys have a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. Stay safe, stay healthy. Go Birds, baby.